Hello, everybody, and welcome to the March 17th episode of Trips and Traps. I'm Andy Serling, joined by Eric Donovan.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. We only have one episode to bring you this week, 3 races with the cancellation on Saturday, plus wet tracks on Friday and Sunday. Just didn't think there was all that much to show from the latter part of the week, but we do have some races from earlier on.
Yeah, we have some races where it's more a dynamic situation and horses that are sort of with the way the race goes, or I should say one of them, and a lot of horses that really, one of them, a couple who really overachieved. And we'll start with a horse who, I wouldn't say, one of them we think is a trap, another horse you could probably bet back, but this was a race where you had a very fast pace up front.
Yeah, there's 2 horses we're looking at here. The 5, Nearly There, who's in the silks, in the yellow and, not the yellow, I'm sorry, the white and red, and then down toward the inside is Virtue's Under Fire right there. And the way the race unshapes, you'll see what happens here. Virtue's Under Fire sits a pretty perfect trip in here while the pace gets hot between a 4 and 5.
Right. I think there's sort of an illusion in a way that Virtue's Under Fire was sort of shuffled back or such and had some traffic trouble, when in reality all he did was sort of clunk along at the end while the others did the hard work. I felt with Nearly There, a very aggressive ride here from Gabriel Saez, and it ended up just being a pretty hot pace for these kind of horses. Virtue's Under Fire getting the great trip. You know, the winner ran extremely well. I mean, the winner is the horse chasing 4 wide, moves 3 wide. It's actually the gray horse right here. That's the eventual winner of the race. The horse behind him makes the move, but Virtue's Under Fire, I mean, he's getting everything his own way.
Yeah, absolutely everything his own way. I mean, people might say that he might be a little bit blocked here, but still, you got to wait to see what happens in the stretch, and we'll take a look as we roll it. That Virtue's Under Fire has plenty of time to get out and make a run, and just when they straighten away, just can't keep up with the first 3 horses.
Right, it's like they just absolutely run away from him. And okay, I can understand horses are making moves running away from him, but the 5 has been working hard the whole way. What I found was interesting about the 5. Now I know the 3 made this big 4 wide move, and that's reasonable. But the 5 at this point, I mean, the other horse, the 4 inside, is actually the favorite in this race, I believe. That horse is sort of given up, and the 5, it's like he's not happy between horses, and he's actually still battling back, and he almost ends up finishing second. And then you see that phony late close from Virtue's Under Fire, which is going to suck people in. Oh, he had traffic, he had this. What he had was a perfect setup.
Yeah, he did. And the thing that struck me most interesting about Nearly There, the 5 horse, was that going back to his 3 other races, he hadn't shown the kind of speed that he showed here. And then you go into a race where you look at it on paper and you say, well, it's the big cat, looks like he's the main speed. You wouldn't think Nearly There would be up chasing him and fighting him the whole way, but he does, and he beats him and really runs quite well. This is the first time in for a tag for Nearly There, and I think second time for the tag, he's definitely going to be one to beat. Virtue's Under Fire, I'm staying away from.
Yeah, the problem is Nearly There was the time to have him. And I think, it's easy in retrospect to say, oh, it was a hot pace, it was this and that. I think they liked the horse going in, thought they might have had the best horse in the race, and they rode him like the best horse. And I'm never going to fault any rider connections for wanting to ride a horse like the best horse. It just didn't work out. Though the winner was legitimately good in there, you can't knock him. The next race we're going to show is a horse that I originally laughed when you told me you wanted to do it. But you're absolutely right. We're going back to the feature race, I guess, on that day, March 10th.
Yeah, we're going to look at the 6 Georgiana, who's toward the outside here in the bluish silks. And what's interesting, I think, about Georgiana is that this is a horse that should be running, I think, for 10,000 and has been in starter allowances, not winners of 1 allowances. And in this race here, regardless of the class that Georgiana is running against, puts in a heck of a race. I mean, 4 wide around the first turn here. The horse that wins the race is the even money favorite, a 6-5 favorite, Ampart Ridge, who's getting away in a pretty comfortable lead right here. And we just see Georgiana trying to get closer up and chasing wide throughout.
Yeah, Georgiana had a kind of trip that if she was one of the favorites in this race, you would say the race didn't go in her favor. Chasing 3-4, basically 4 wide the whole way around. Never gets a breather at all. And the interesting thing about her here is, well, you've got, of course, the favorite in front. But the other thing is, here's Autumn Lady. She was back early, and she's the one in the orange, and she was making the move from the back of the pack to get into contention. And she didn't run that badly either, but Georgiana's just outside chasing in the middle of nowhere, as you said, against horses she couldn't possibly beat.
Yeah, there's no chance for her. Even if she was one of the favorites in here, as you were saying before, with this kind of trip, you wouldn't think she'd have any chance to win here. But still, is still involved in the race and trying to get back in it. So, lost a little bit of position down the backstretch here, just because the rider wanted to rail a little bit. But still, you're 3 or 4 wide around the second turn here. The ground loss for Georgiana is just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is, normally when you see a horse like this, you expect him to run 6th, beaten 20 lengths, because and even here she starts to drift out, but she still never tires. Now, you could make a couple of cases here. Perhaps the horses in front of her aren't as good as you think they are, but I think they're okay. They're not superstars. They're okay. And Ampart Ridge has been in great form, and she had the easiest kind of trip, or maybe she's a lot better than she looks. The thing about Georgiana is she's got to be put in a spot that she can win. I mean, she is a horse that I think ran for $4,000 back not that long ago, and It's fine if she ran well in this race, but you want to win races, you want to get purses, and if she keeps running in spots she's over her head, she's going to lose that form by the time they run her where she belongs.
Yeah, I think a drop in class is much needed for Georgiana, and those $4,000 races came up at Finger Lakes too, so I'm wondering maybe when Finger Lakes gets involved if they'll drop her back into that level here. But you still got time till that meet starts. You still got another month, I guess, or so probably, right, until Finger Lakes starts, and I'd be curious to see what happens with her here.
I know one thing, there are a lot of races here with some pretty good purses for her that she could run in, and she would win with the kind of effort she showed in that last race.
All right, one more race to bring you. We'll move on to Thursday, March 11th, race number 3. We're going to take a look at the 5-horse For Sure.
Yeah, For Sure is a horse he's another horse. He's been in terrific form in his recent races. The problem that he's had has been a similar thing that dogs him here, and there he is in the back, is that, first of all, he's in pretty tough. But the other thing is, because of his running style, the dynamics have worked out against him because he hasn't really gotten much of a pace. But the other thing is, this is the second time in a row that he's made this sort of creative wide middle move. Here he is in the back of the pack.
Now, the horse that's on the lead setting this slow pace does not go wire to wire, but the race is dominated by the first 3 horses here. The horse third on the rail, Can't Rush Perfection, wins. The horse that's second on the outside, Tar Beach, is third, and Dorian Will holds on for second here. So this is a pace-dominated race, and you see For Sure kind of loop those back 2 horses there and get in some kind of position here, but still way up against it.
Yeah, and the rider is trying to hold him. I mean, you could see his head bend as he was going by those other horses, so it's not, I guess he's just trying to get him another position. The problem is maybe he doesn't have the gate speed to get himself in position, but he needs better position early. He's running against tough horses. I mean, you look at the horses that For Sure was competing against when we first started the inner track. They were inferior to this. If he had run the race he's been running recently, when I bet him against Quip, he would have won that race by a city block at a big price. He's been in good form. He needs, a little bit of a break in the way a race is run. And, I want to say he needs easier competition, but you know what? In a fairly run race, I think he could be very competitive with these horses.
Yeah, I mean, the pace in this race was 25 flat and 49 and 4. If you're looking at 24-48 here, I think you up his chances big time here. And For Sure, doesn't really give up here. Only is going to lose this race by, what, 2 1/4 lengths, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, you could, look, a lot of people, and it's a fair argument, the horse who ends up winning, who's right there, For Sure was just outside of that horse. So from a position standpoint, you say, well, he was right with the horse who won it. No, the horse who won it had the rail, broke from the rail, settled back with Dominguez, never left the rail until the end. For Sure did all kinds of work and was chasing wide. They're very different trips. It's not always, position matters, but it's also how did you get that position, and the winner got the position in a very easy manner. For Sure had to work hard for it.
Yeah, if you consider the ground loss on both turns, I would say they're pretty close to even at the wire.
I don't disagree. I think you could add in the fact that For Sure just had to work harder to get there. So interesting horse, For Sure. We'll see him again, for sure.
Very good, very clever. That's Andy Serling. I'm Eric Donovan. We thank you for watching Trips and Traps. Remember, we love to hear your comments, and you can email us at tripsandtraps@nairainc.com.